Welcome back, everybody. A little bit different of a space, this time showing more of what's around me, a little bit more of the bookstore. So this is Boundless Creations Bookshop. Today, we're doing another review, and this review today is going to be Empire of the Vampire by Kristoff. Now, this book is a bit interesting because I actually heard some other things about it before I went into it, assuming I was going to be kind of smacked in the face with a bit more spiciness than it really was. Not so much. And maybe I'm just mildly desensitized with some of the other junk I read, but so be it. So, kind of premise of the book is about a group called the Silver Saints. They are vampire hunters. This is a group of people that are half-bloods. They're half vampire, half human. Basically all the stuff that the vampire has, with really kind of not too much of the negativity that it comes with. The downfall is, in order to get the vampire strength, they still have to digest blood, in a sense. Not in the way that you would traditionally think, maybe in a kind of a weird way. Won't really give that one away, but definitely different than what you would think. It's about a group of vampire hunters hunting down the vampire families. And in this case, there's not just one vampire that kind of made all the vampires. There's a grouping of different like vampire hierarchy families that kind of control all of it, and each one have different abilities. In the vampire families, you have different abilities, and in those abilities, you get different things like the ability to control minds, extremely strong, kind of a few others. They don't really dive into like. The funny thing is there is different ones, and they do talk about what each one can do. But the prominent ones that you really see is the really like the brute strength ones, and the ones that can kind of like control minds, get in your minds, read the mind, and then kind of tell it what to do. That's kind of it. That's kind of the two main focuses. Our main character, he actually is not a part of the main four families. So a lot of times they don't think he has the capability of doing anything. Kind of hint in the book as it goes through that might not be the only case. That maybe there's more than four families. The book does jump a few timelines. So you kind of start off with the main character being younger, becoming a Silver Saint, going to essentially this kind of church castle thing where they train all of them. And then it'll kind of jump around, go a little bit more forward to when he's like an adult, and then sometimes back, and so on and so forth. Now, I did mention spiciness. I personally would give this maybe a 2.5 out of 5 on the spicy scale. It's really not that spicy. While it is open door romance, there's never a bit in the book where it is graphically depicted. What the writer does so well in this is more the depiction of the feelings behind the romance, behind the spiciness, as one would say. I think he does a really great job because it feeds that like, oh wow, I really can understand the drive and the needs and so on and so forth. So there's really not, I think there's only 3, maybe 4 scenes, and each one is not really all that big. Maybe a page or so, and if you don't like that kind of thing, you can skip and move on. Now, on other scales, this book is definitely violent. It is a vampire hunter meets vampire, so it's a lot of blood, it's a lot of guts, and the author kind of has no problem depicting any of that in any kind of way. It's so if you get a little queasy, maybe not so much for you. Otherwise, it's a blast. It's a really fun adventure that you kind of get told throughout this whole spectrum of time. Now, this is book 1 of so far 3 books. And luckily now there's 3 books out. So if you do read the first one, you're not having to wait to get the ending and have to move on and wait for the new book. You could just move on to the next book, which I'm thoroughly excited for, but I personally have to wait because I've got other books. Going back to a little bit of the book, in the character, one of the things the writer does is he's going to make you love the characters and then make you hate the characters and then make you love the characters and then make you hate the characters so many times. It was quite the roller coaster sometimes, because sometimes I'm like, wow, the main character is a jerk. And then other times I'm like, huh, I love this guy. So you get those dynamics throughout the book. It adds for some really great reading and some great material. This is the second book of Jay Kristoff's that I've read, and he kind of has a lot of this dynamics in his other writing too. So if you've read any of his other books like Nevernight, it kind of has that same whole idea of I love and hate this character so much. Without giving anything away, because that's one of the big things is when I do my reviews, we're going to do a little bit of the good and a little bit of kind of everything else. So I don't want to spoil the book. I want you to read it and then come back to me and tell me what you think. Or if you've already read it, put it in the comments. So with that, I give this book personally a 4.8, and that's high. But for me, I really enjoyed everything about the book. The fact that I'm not a big smut person, and so it wasn't really thrown in my face. The violence felt right and not needless. Like a lot of books that I've read before where it just feels gross for being gross sake. The author writes characters beautifully that you want to get to know and deep dive into. Gain of new characters, the loss of some characters, the growing of everybody in the book is something of kind of a marvel. And so, once again, 4.8, it's such a good read. Definitely recommend picking it up if you're into high fantasy vampire novels. Now, this isn't your sexy vampires. This is a lot more of your ugly side of what vampires are. So remember that. Outside of all that, that's what I recommend. Definitely pick it up, read it. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the flip side.